Good morning, y'all. We're going to make some coconut candy today with some pecans and dark chocolate. I don't know about the coconut milk. And make sure it's organic without no sugar in it. Coconut. And this hammer. Don't do it on your tile floor. We want to crush these up. You can take your pecans and you can use like a hot pad or something. And don't do it like this. Do it sideways with your pecans. And crush them up. Smaller pieces because it's going to be mixed in your candy. It's best to do this before you bake them in the oven. We're going to bake them in the oven at 350. 10 minutes. I got my oven preheated already. You don't want to go through the bag, so you want to hit them, but you know. Okay, they broke up pretty good. All right, next we're going to put these in a bowl and lightly put olive oil on them, and I'm using pink Himalayan salt. Now we got our pecans coated with some olive oil and pink Himalayan salt. Put it on parchment paper on a baker's sheet to get your sheet to lay down so it don't pucker up or roll up on you. Lightly dampen it with water and then put your parchment paper down. And I always just put me some whole ones on there, lightly olive oil and pink Himalayan salt, along with my crushed ones, because I like to just eat these as a treat later. And also, we may put some chocolate on these. We're experimenting. This is all experimenting, and y'all are following along as I make a recipe. So, let's see how it turns out. The oven is ready. It says it's 350. Now we're going to pop them in the oven. And we're going to make sure it says 350 before we set our timer for 10 minutes. Okay, here we go. We're going to put them in the oven. I'm using a gas oven, and I heard the fire come on. It says it's 350. I always wait a few minutes because I did open that door. Okay, so here we are. We're going to set it for 10 minutes. And we're going to let them cool when they come out before we mix them together. So I'm going to pop them in the freezer. I'm going to change pans. I don't want to put a hot pan in the freezer. And I will be lining another pan with parchment paper and putting the hot ones on there and then sticking it in the freezer to cool them down quickly. You don't have to cool them down quickly, but I always store my nuts in the freezer. And after you do these, if you're not using them right away, you can store them in the freezer and they taste just like you done them, except they're cold. Anyway, they're good. Okay, I'll get back to you. If you don't have a double boiler, you can just get a bigger pan and a smaller pan. See how the pan floats? That's fine, because that handle is going to keep it. Don't fill it. You'll know how much water to put in it. It's just got to cover the bottom. We will put a little bit of butter in there to help melt that dark chocolate. And heat our coconut milk up. I want to melt the chocolate first and then put the coconut milk in there. So hold on. Expect your unsweetened coconut flakes to be dry. That's why we got to make sure we put moisture in them. That's why we're using the coconut milk. Let me get it. I used this organic Vietnamese coconut milk unsweetened because it doesn't have added junk in it. And it's really good. It's thick. And we need to put a little butter in there so all these things will combine. Now, I haven't decided if we're going to need this powdered milk. The powdered milk was only for like maybe a thickener in my mind. So, I think outside the box. And this is what I'm using, the organic 100% dark chocolate, because I've used other brands. I haven't used this one yet. And you need to inspect everything before you buy it. See what you're putting in, you know. So this is just says organic coconut milk powder, I mean. And this right here says organic coconut and water. That's it. I got this off of Amazon. And the pecans, I just buy them at, you can get them at Walmart or Sam's Club or wherever you want to buy them. It's a 2-pound bag. We use them up pretty quick. We like them. Pecans are supposed to be keto friendly. That's why I'm using pecans. And you can roast them. I tried roasting walnuts one time. Oh, gosh. That was yucky. Pecans come out yummy. Okay. Waiting on it. Pecans. This is what that chocolate bar looks like. It looks pretty good. Smells good. Okay, first I'm going to put the chocolate in my double boiler and a little bit of butter. Get that kind of blended down, and then we're going to put in our Vietnamese coconut milk unsweetened. This is all unsweetened, y'all. What's going to sweeten it? This has a little bit of sweetener in it. I mean, you can taste it sweet. Coconut sweet, you know. Okay. And this is really dry, so it has to be wet. And this butter, I fear, will... I was debating whether to roast this, but it's so dry, I'm afraid to roast it. I might put it in my pan with my butter. I'm going to let my butter brown a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to start with, I don't know, half stick of butter. See the water boiling? Let's see. Butter's melting. I've got to decide if that's enough butter, because that coconut really going to need some moisture. Now we got to put our chocolate in there. This chocolate's really bitter. Of course, you know, it doesn't have no sugar in it. We've got to get the sugar out of our bodies, y'all. Turn it down. It's boiling pretty good. Let's see how well that... I think half stick was alright. Coconut's going to absorb it anyway. And this will be having to pop in the freezer. Hold on, I gotta pop my nuts in the freezer. You see how I got all my nuts on the tray, and I got this is fresh parchment paper. Let's pop it in the freezer now. This is what your coconut milk looks like. Pretty thick. We're gonna put about, I don't know, half can. We want it to kind of milk. Oh, okay. See all the milk's in there. I wanted the thicker part of it. So don't shake it when you go to open it. See how that looks? Oh, that looks good. Now, of course, I've got it. Now we're going to put our coconut in there. First, let me taste it. See if it's sweet enough. If all else fails, we do have some honey. Let me taste it. It's still bitter. Okay, y'all. Hopefully the coconut itself will sweeten it up. Organic coconut, okay? We're going to put that in there. Now, we got to put our nuts in there too. I'm going to stir this up. Let me get my nuts. I put 3 handfuls of the nuts in there. Okay, now we're going to put some more coconut. Probably the rest of the bag. 7-ounce bag that I'm using. Now want to come out. Remember, y'all are in my test kitchen. I couldn't call this keto if I put in honey. So I'm going to be using this monk fruit because this is allowed. It's very sweet. Don't take much, but we got to put some sweetener in there because this don't taste good. That's so much better using the monk fruit. And y'all can see that. Tiki Hut monk fruit extract. So it's very powerful. Even in that big batch, you use very little. Not very much at all. This goes a long ways. I think a quarter or a teaspoon might be too much. So you just start with half of it, half a quarter teaspoon, and then sprinkle with your fingers as you go. I'm not kidding you. This monk fruit is strong sweetener. We're going to drop this, we're going to roll out balls. We're going to let it cool a little bit. Smash it together. Put it on parchment paper and then set it in the freezer. Okay, I let it cool a little bit, and then I'm adding a cup of this coconut milk powder. Mix it well and form like an inch ball. Here it is. I tried it without the powder. I needed it. And then I'm going to put a nut on it. And you're going to have to freeze these, and you're going to have to eat them frozen. Okay, let me finish the tray. We got them ready. Now we're going to have to pop them in the freezer and eat one tonight. I'll take it out, show you what it looks like, and then after they come out of the freezer, you can bag them up. But keep them frozen. This is not one that you can leave out. Okay. Be back to you when I get to the ending. Well, it has been tested by a professional, my husband, and he liked it very much. And see, that's butter on there. But I need a little butter to melt that chocolate in. I might cut back the butter next time to a little bit less than a half. It's not going to be like real sweet like milk chocolate, but it's edible and it's keto friendly all the way. I kept it as clean as I could for keto. Okay, that's it. Bye, y'all. Oh, yes, keep it frozen. Bye, y'all. Now I use this holder here to hold my bag, and I put about 6, 2 on each side, into a quart bag, and put this in the freezer. That's how I store them. And you pull them out like that, and you can serve that to anyone. You don't need a plate. Okay. I hope y'all will make this candy. It's very good. Keto friendly all the way.